Welcome back to this video series of learning the Armenian alphabet. After this video, we will have covered the entire Armenian alphabet, and at the end of this video, we will read the beginning of the Gospel according to Matthew, which covers the genealogy of Jesus and a bunch of the names that we have used in this video series to learn the Armenian alphabet, the Hayereni Aipupen. So these are the letters that we've learned so far, and hopefully you have your notes with you, and let's get into it. Let's look at the last vowel, which is called ut, which gives what might be described as a closed E sound, which I'm showing here with the letter E with two dots on top of it. For example, for the pronunciation, in English, when we say the Gospel according to Matthew, in Armenian that would translate to Avedaran ist Matteosi. So it's a sound. So I'll say this again. Avedaran ist Matteosi. The letter it is usually seen at the end of words to show a definite article. So for example, the second verse of the first chapter of the Gospel according to Matthew, we have the following. Abraham ծնավ Իսահակը, Իսահակ ծնավ Հակոբը, Հակոբ ծնավ Հութան և անոր եղբայրները. So here you can see the it at the end of names as well, and words. Note, when a word has more than two consonants or sounds, the it sound is often used without writing the letter. You might have noticed this from the previous videos, but for example, the word for Holy Birth, which stands for Christmas, in Armenian is Surp Zenunt, which is read as Surp Zenunt, where you have the ut sound, the between the letter za and nu, Zenunt. Now, even though the it isn't written, in examples of hyphenation, the it letter will be included. This is just a standard that we have. So now we've learned ut, the final vowel, so put it in your table and let us proceed. Let's solidify this letter in our minds with the I am Jesus statements, which use the letter it for definite articles. For example, Yes yem gyanki hatsa, which in English is I am the living bread. The second one, and you can try and read with me, as we have seen all of these letters from the previous videos. Yes yem pari hoviva, which in English is I am the good shepherd. So here in the word hoviv, because on its own it ends with ini and hyun, it is read phonetically as is, hoviv, without the exception where if hyun is after the ini, we get a u sound. So this word shepherd alone would be hoviv, but because of the definite article the, when we add the letter it doesn't change the pronunciation. So hoviva. Finally, the third one is Yesyem harutunen u gyanka, which in English is I am the resurrection and the life. In this one, the word harutun, which means resurrection, is given the definite article using the letter nu rather than the it. Review. For the letter yech, if in the beginning of a word has a ye sound, but sometimes it's just pronounced as an e in the conjugation of the verb to be. So sometimes instead of hearing yesyem gyanki hatsa, you will hear yesem gyanki hatsa. Or instead of yesyem pari hoviva, you will hear yesem pari hoviva. And with that, we have solidified the letter it. And now, let us look at the last group of letters that are different between Eastern and Western Armenian, one of which is of course the same, but is related to the other two. And that is why we are grouping them as such. And we will start with that letter that is the same. And for that, we will look at the names of some more saints. Here we have Hovannes Megerdich. Again, in lowercase, Hovannes Megerdich. So this letter gives us a ch sound. So it's a combination of the T and the sh sound. Since in English there's no single letter for the sound sh, we can either show it using sh or in some cases ch, if it's a word borrowed from French. But for this video, I will use the three-letter combination of T, ch to show the sound of this Armenian letter, cha. And with that, now it's your turn to try and pronounce the name of this saint. Pause the video, try to pronounce it, and I will confirm the pronunciation in 3, 2, 1. Krikor Lusavoric. Krikor Lusavoric. So this suffix ich at the end of these two names, so Hovannes Megerdich or Krikor Lusavoric, in Armenian is what's called an agentive suffix used to attribute an action to a person. So for example, Hovannes Megerdich in English would be John the Baptizer, also known as John the Baptist. Or Krikor Lusavoric in English would be Gregory the Illuminator. So that's what the ich stands for. And with that, we've learned this letter. Put it in your table and let us proceed. So this letter is called cha, and its sound is a combination of T and sh. Ch. And now let us look at the new words that we've unlocked into our Father prayer. And we've unlocked the last word, which is chare. So char means evil, so in English, but deliver us from evil. In Armenian, we say Ail pergya ezmez I chare. And with that, we've unlocked the entire Our Father prayer. So let us read it together. Hayr mer, vor hergines yes, surp yegitsi anunko, yegetse arkayutunko, yegitsin gamko, vorbes hergines yev hergri, ez hats mer hanabazort, dur mez aysor, yev togmez ez bardis mer, vorbes yev mek togump merots bardabanats, yev mi danir ez mezi portutun, al pergya ez mezi chare. And now, here's the same Lord's Prayer, but all in uppercase. Why don't you pause the video and review by trying to read it yourself? And if you forgot a word, you can go back a few seconds to hear what the prayer sounded like. Alright, I hope you remembered all the words. And now let us proceed to the Vochchun Kez Mariam. Have we unlocked any more new words? No, we have not. So let us continue. So back to this group. We've unlocked Cha. And now let us look at this letter. So for this one, let's get the help of the I am Jesus statement again. Here we have Yesyem Jishmarid Vortadunga, which translates to I am the true vine. This word is pronounced Jishmarid. Jishmarid. So this letter in Western Armenian gives a combination sound of D and J. J. And here, another I am statement, we have Yesyem Janabara Jishmardutuna Yev Gyanka, which translates to I am the way, the truth, and the life. So Jishmarid means true, Jishmardutun means truth, Janabar means way. And again, the it is a definite article. So in English that will be the. Let us review. The letter ho is usually breath or silent if after a consonant. So in the word Janabar, we don't really pronounce the H. We don't say Janabar. So it's silent or just a breath sound, Janabar, or with the definite article, Janabara. And with that, we've learned this letter, which in Western Armenian is pronounced J, a combination of D and J. But now, guess the Eastern Armenian pronunciation. And here's a hint. Remember that this letter in Western Armenian is Dun with a D sound, but in Eastern Armenian, it's with an unaspirated T sound, Tun. So pause the video and I'll show the solution in 3, 2, 1. Che. Che, using an unaspirated T sound plus a sh sound instead of a j sound. The second half of the sound was probably trickier to guess, but I hope you got the hint for the first half of the pronunciation, where instead of a D in Western Armenian, we used an unaspirated T in Eastern Armenian. So let's review. The word for true in Western Armenian, it's Jishmarit, Jishmarit, but in Eastern Armenian, it is Jishmarit, Jishmarit. The word for the way in Western Armenian, it is Janabara, Janabara. But in Eastern Armenian, it is Janapara, Janapara. And with that, we've covered 2 out of the 3, and we're left with this last one. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you its pronunciation. In Western Armenian, it gives a che sound. So it's like the letter cha, but now I want you to guess the Eastern Armenian pronunciation. And here's a hint from the last letter that we just learned. J in Western Armenian, but in Eastern Armenian it's che. So pause the video and I'll show the solution in 3, 2, 1. J. And with that, we've covered this last letter of this group. And now let us look at the new words that we've learned from the Vochchun Kez Mariam, or in Eastern Armenian, Vochchun Kez Mariam. So we've uncovered the first word, Vochchun, which means hail or peace. So Hail Mary in Armenian, it is Vochchun Kez Mariam. So these are the letters we have so far. Make sure you've written them in your table. So now we've covered this last group of letters that are different between Eastern and Western Armenian. Make sure you've written them all in your table. Now let us review. For Western Armenian, this letter cha gives the same sound as this letter che, but this letter gives a j sound. While in Eastern Armenian, this letter cha, again it's the same as Western, but this letter is pronounced j instead of j, while this last letter that we've just learned is pronounced j. With this one, it's going to be a bit harder to communicate spelling if you have an Eastern Armenian speaker and a Western Armenian speaker, since the name of the letter is J versus J, which sound exactly the same. And with that, these are the letters that we have. We have only one letter remaining. And for that, we will look at the first sentence in Armenian written down by Saint Mesrob after he invented the Armenian alphabet, which is said to be the opening line of Solomon's Book of Proverbs. So if we read it in Armenian, Janachel zimastutun yev eschrad imanal spanes hanjaro, which means to know wisdom and instruction, to perceive the words of understanding. So for this word, eschrad, we can see here the pronunciation using the Latin alphabet, and here we are using the Western Armenian pronunciation for the letter Dun. So here we have eschrad, eschrad. So this letter, which is shown with Latin letters using K and H, is a throatal raspy consonant, like the Ch in the name of the composer Bach. So here's the last letter. You can write it in your table, and this letter is called Che, which again gives a Ch sound. And with that, let us unlock the last word in the Vochun Kez Mariam prayer, which is Parechosia, which means intercede, or say a good word for us, or pray for us. So, pray for us sinners in Armenian is Parechosia Vasenmer Megaboratets. And now we can pray together the full Vochun Kez Mariam prayer. So try and pray along. Vochun Kez Mariam, Lish Norhok, Derin and Kez. Օրնյալ ես դու իգանայս, և օրնյալ է բդուղ որովայնիկո Հիսուս։ Սուրբ ուհի Մարիամ, մայր Աստուծո, բարեխոսյա վասեն մեր մեղավորատս, այժմ և իժամու մահվան մերո, Amen. Now you can pause the video and try to pray it on your own, this time with all the words being in capital letters. So go ahead and pause the video, and if you're not sure about a certain word, go back a few seconds to where we prayed the prayer together to review some of the words. And now that we've unlocked all the letters, let us read the first part of the Gospel according to Matthew, which contains the genealogy of Jesus, which we have been using to learn this alphabet. So let us go ahead and try to read along. Surp Avedaran ist Matteosi. Kirk Zinantian Jesus Christosi, vor Taviti vortier, Abrahami serunten. Abraham ծնավ Իսահակը, Իսահակ ծնավ Հակոբը, Հակոբ ծնավ Հութան և անոր եղբայրները, Հութա ծնավ Փարեսը և Զարան Թամարեն, Փարես ծնավ Եզրոնը, Եզրոն ծնավ Արամը, Արամ ծնավ Ամինատապը, Ամինատապը ծնավ Նահասոնը, Նահասոն ծնավ Սաղմոնը, Սաղմոն ծնավ Պոոսը հրաքապեն, Պոոս ծնավ Օվպետը Հրութեն, Օվպետ ծնավ Հեսսեն, Հեսսե ծնավ Դավիթ թագավորը, Դավիթ ծնավ Սողոմոնը, Ուրիայի կնոջմեն, Սողոմոն ծնավ Ռոպովամը, Ռոպովամ ծնավ Ապյան, Ապյա ծնավ Ասապը, Ասապ ծնավ Հովսապադը, Հովսապադ ծնավ Հովրամը, Հովրամ ծնավ Օզյան, Օզյա ծնավ Հովատամը, Հովատամ ծնավ Աքազը, Աքազ ծնավ Եզեգյան, Եզեգյա ծնավ Մանասեն, Մանասե ծնավ Ամոնը, Ամոն ծնավ Հովսյան, Հովսյա ծնավ Հեկոնյան և անոր եղբայրները Պապելոնի քերության ժամանակ։ Պապելոնի քերութենեն վերջ Հեկոնյա ծնավ Սաղաթիելը, Սաղաթիել ծնավ Զորոպապելը, Զորոպապել ծնավ Ապիութը, Ապիութ ծնավ Եղիագիմը, Եղիագիմ ծնավ Ազովրը, Ազովր ծնավ Սատովկը, Սատովկ ծնավ Աքինը, Աքինը ծնավ Եղիութը, Եղիութ ծնավ Եղիազարը, Եղիազար ծնավ Մատանը, Մատան ծնավ Հակոբը, Հակոբ ծնավ Հովսեփը, Մարիամին ամուսինը, որուն նշանված էր Մարիամ գույսը, որ մեծ ծնավ Հիսուս, որ կոչվեցավ Քրիստոս։ Արդ բոլորը Աբրահամեն մինչև Դավիթ 14 սերունդ, Դավիթեն մինչև Պապելոնի քերությունը 14 սերունդ, և Պապելոնի քերութենեն մինչև Քրիստոս 14 սերունդ. And with that, we've read through the first part of the Gospel, and I'll put a link for this translation in the description so you can try to continue reading this Gospel on your own. Thank you for joining us in this video series. I hope this has helped you not only in learning the Armenian alphabet, but also in being more excited to know the Gospel. If you have enjoyed this, please join the channel by subscribing and like these videos so that others can find these videos as well.